Hi, ladies. It's been a while. Happy Monday. Do, 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 do. I'm back in North Carolina, and it feels so good to be in my space. And I just had an awesome sales call with a potential client who's just so cool. And every time I have a great call with somebody who's just super magnetic, it always lights me up. I think I've mentioned to you guys before how being with people really lights me up. Having calls with people light me up. And it's kind of an awkward time. It's like noon here on the East Coast and like 9 a.m. on Pacific time and I don't know, 5 or 6 o'clock for those of you in England and even later, 5 a.m. I think for those of you in Australia. But I wanted to hop on now to talk about what you're choosing to see. Because about a year ago, as some of you have heard me mention, my husband Ryan and I came up with this vision, this idea of creating a transformational retreat center. And since that time, I have gotten so many opportunities to either A, create one, or B, be immersed in one, or C, meet people who are building one. And the signs of my desire are everywhere. But the problem is that I find is that most people aren't looking for the signs of their desire. They're looking for the signs of their pain and their suffering. And you guys have heard me talk about Greece too, right? Well, as you know, a couple of weeks ago, I manifested an opportunity to speak in Greece this summer that I am currently in the process of nurturing. And I just had a call with this woman who is building a transformational retreat center in Costa Rica and has visions to create one of her tribes and communities in Greece. Also, my husband is currently in Amsterdam working with a client who is launching and growing a transformational retreat center. So your decision to look for the evidence of your desire is very potent, because if I wasn't mindful, if I wasn't thinking about my desire, if I didn't have that vision for my transformational retreat center, if I didn't have that vision, wasn't holding that vision and desire to be in Greece in my heart, I don't know that I would be choosing to see any of that, or if it would even be available to me. But instead, if you're in a place right now in your life, hi Janine, it's so good to see you. This is someone who's choosing to see what she wants. Yeah, girl. Instead of choosing to see what you don't want in your life and what's causing you pain and suffering, it's more powerful to choose to see what you do want. Because when you choose to see what you want, the evidence is everywhere. I know that for me, whenever I connect with my desire and I call it in, I suddenly start to create opportunities, almost what feels like immediately around me, to have that desire come to life. And today was just another example of that. Speaking to this woman who is creating a transformational retreat center and has a vision to create one in Greece, which you guys know is part of my desire. There's something for me in Greece. I don't know what it is. I feel called to be in Greece. But I hold that desire near to me. And because I do, I choose to look for information and evidence that supports the reality and the availability of that desire. So often I meet women who are building businesses, who are choosing to see the things that they do not have, who are choosing to see the lack of clients, who are choosing to see the lack of money, who are choosing to see the lack of direction, who are choosing to see a lack of clarity, instead of choosing to see their choice, that they have so many possibilities available to them, instead of choosing to see that there are billions of clients that you could serve, instead of choosing to see that you have everything that you need and everything that you want available to you. It's all available to you. So a couple of weeks ago, I posted about something called cognitive biases. And I talked about the 4 different kinds of cognitive biases. You can look at that on my Facebook, like my Facebook business page. And one of my favorite cognitive biases is actually called the confirmation bias. And the confirmation bias basically says that we seek, and our brains automatically seek information in our reality and in our physical reality that actually supports a previous belief or experience. So you're out there subconsciously, automatically collecting information that supports a belief that you hold, and you're not even necessarily aware of it. So if your beliefs and your desires are in either A, in conflict, or B, not present in your conscious and subconscious mind, your mind is going to be automatically collecting stuff that is the antithesis, perhaps, of what it is that you really want. And it's called the confirmation bias. And one of my favorite tools that I give all the clients that I work with is something that I call evidence journaling. And I actually got this from another coach that I used to work with because it was so profound, it changed me. When you start to actually collect evidence that you are on track and in the creation of your desire, then you start to see how much of what you want is already in your life experience and how much of it is available to you. The signs start showing up everywhere. And that's that experience that people have of having signs, right? Of like, oh, I said I wanted to go to Greece, and then I saw a picture of Greece on a billboard. That's a sign. Or I said that I wanted to go to this conference, Tony Robbins event, and then I got served an ad. It's a sign. Well, yes, the universe is giving you are actually receiving and attracting what it is you want, but also you are looking for the evidence of that desire. So then it starts to reinforce it, and the next thing you know, you're going to Tony Robbins or heading off on a flight to Greece because you have collected enough evidence to support and validate the desire that you have. And then that evidence starts to create momentum, and that momentum builds, and you take more and more and more action to bring that desire into your current life experiences. Janine says, yes, I choose to see myself reach 6-figure goal for 2018. Absolutely. Look, I have this right here on my desk. It says $100,000. It might be backwards for you. This isn't my total financial goal for next year. My financial goal for next year is actually $1.2 million, which is the biggest goal I've ever had. But I have a goal next year to hire my first $100,000 client. I am calling in a $100,000 private client. I haven't met him or her yet, but I do know that she or he is out there waiting for me, and I am waiting for them. So I keep this number on my desk, and I look at it every single day because I know that the more often I see it, the easier it will be for me to look for the evidence of the people and the experiences that I can create to call in this thing. So, are you choosing to collect evidence that supports what you actually want to see? Are you choosing to collect the evidence of what it is that you really want in your life? Or are you choosing to collect evidence that's contrary to your desire? If you see yourself looking for and searching for information that supports something that is not serving you, you are only collecting more evidence and creating more momentum for your suffering and for your lack. So if you are collecting evidence right now that you are confused, if you're collecting evidence that your inquiries or your outreach isn't converting, if you're collecting evidence that it's difficult to get clients, then guess what's going to happen? That's more of what you're going to get. Oh, Janine says, I would love to see Tony Robbins live. Yeah, Tony Robbins is amazing live. So here's what I would do. Put a picture of Tony Robbins on your desk and go to his website and view his stuff. And you're going to start getting ads. And then every day you're going to get ads from Tony Robbins. And that's going to be a little signal and a little piece of evidence. Guess what? I almost went to Tony Robbins Date with Destiny this year, but my husband had to go to Amsterdam. I put Tony Robbins on my vision board a year ago. And then I almost immediately manifested going to UPW, which is this big event. And then I had an opportunity, but chose not to go to Date with Destiny this year. But I know I'm going to Tony Robbins, right? Like, you know, you're going to build a 6-figure business next year, Janine. So look for the evidence, because your mind, if you don't do it, if you're not consciously actively seeking for the evidence that aligns with your desires, your mind will take over and do it for you. And it's going to search for the stuff that is based on the beliefs that you have that are currently not serving you or that are serving you. It's up to you. Your mind doesn't distinguish between whether a belief is good or bad. It just says, here's a belief. You've told me that this is what you want. You told me that this is what you've chosen to see. This is what's happened in the past. So now I'm going to start collecting evidence of this belief, even though it may not be what you want. So if you are choosing to see the things that you don't want, then you will get more of it. So instead of choosing to collect that evidence, do the conscious work to override that pattern by creating signs and signals all over in your space, triggers everywhere of what it is that you really, really want in your life. I have this, like I showed you, I have this. This is my $100,000 client. That's what this is a signal of. And it triggers me, and it triggers my subconscious and my conscious mind to remember that next year, in the next year, I am going to manifest a $100,000 private client. That is my goal. Have I ever done that before? Hell no, I've never done that before. Can I do it? Fuck yeah. All I have to do is find the right person who feels resonant with me and I feel resonant with, who has the finances to afford it. And then it's game over. That's it. It's not a big deal. So I am acculturating myself to this. I am looking for evidence for this every day. That confirmation bias, if you haven't seen the video on my Facebook page that I created last week or a couple weeks ago about the 4 cognitive biases, definitely check that out, because there is science that explains psychologically and biochemically how you are actually out there collecting evidence and how your brain is actually operating to make life easier for you. And one of the ways that your brain makes your life easier for you is by actually retrofitting in everything that's around you, happening around you, into old mental models or schemas based on your belief systems and your past experiences, which is one of the reasons, guys, why RTT is so incredible and so powerful, because we actually go in and we reinsert and shift we create a new belief and we create a new interpretation of a past experience. So now, instead of an experience from your life triggering your mind to go collect evidence to support an old experience of unworthiness, of a lack of an ability to create money, whatever it is for you, instead your mind is now saying, oh, when that thing happened when I was a kid, it was just a signifier of how cool I was, how creative I am, how different in such a wonderful way that I am. So now your brain is automatically collecting that evidence instead of saying, oh, you're not worthy because of this experience you had in the past. Now it's out there collecting evidence that says, oh, well, when you were a kid, you were just really insensitive and highly intuitive and really outspoken and very confident, and that was made other people uncomfortable, or your mother or your father didn't know how to be with you because they were so different than you. So now all of a sudden you have this new way of being in the world where you suddenly say, actually, I'm a confident person, and you start automatically looking for the evidence that supports your confidence. So, hi, Sean. It's good to see you, sweetie. Thanks for witnessing my animation. I appreciate that. You know I'm animated. So when you're out there actually living into your subconscious beliefs and consciously collecting evidence that supports your subconscious beliefs, and you've got that harmony, then things start to feel like they're in flow. So what are you choosing to see? That's what I want to know from you. What are you choosing to see? Because it's a choice. You can choose to see the things that are causing you pain and suffering, or you can choose to see the things that are bringing you joy and that are evidence of your desires coming to life. And the more you can create reminders of that in your life, the more easily you can actually be in the action of your desire. Janine says, RTT London October group, we're doing a group manifestation meditation on Zoom tonight. Co-creation, that's best. Oh, cool. That's amazing that you're doing that. You should share that in the group, Janine, for other people to attend. I bet other RTTers would love that. I wish that I could go, but I'm actually taking a jujitsu class tonight. Yes, I have started taking jujitsu because I need to work on my body, and it makes me feel strong and powerful because I can take down big men with one move, and that's really cool. So yeah, what are you choosing to see? That's what I want. I want to hear from you. If you can comment, if you're watching now, tell me, what are you choosing to see? And be honest. Are you choosing to see what you really want? Are you choosing to see the desires and you're choosing to see the evidence of your desire coming to life? Or are you choosing to see the things that aren't going so well? Are you choosing to see, oh, I don't have enough money in my bank account? Are you choosing to see, oh, my husband isn't communicating with me? Are you choosing to see, oh, my body isn't responding the way that it needs to a treatment or to a weight loss experience? Or are you choosing to see, actually, I've already lost 5 pounds? Are you choosing to see, actually, my husband held my hand today and it made me feel loved? Or are you choosing to see, actually, I just got a $500 gift card or a $10 gift card from a friend for Christmas? Like, what are you choosing to see? And are you looking for and collecting the evidence of that choosing, of that belief that is present and available to you in your life? One of the things that we are talking about in our Worth to Wealth program that's starting in January, which I'm really, really excited about. I haven't shared too much with you guys. You've probably heard me mention Worth to Wealth here and there in my lives, in some of my posts. But this January, I'm actually launching it, and we're starting to open enrollment in the next few days, which I'm really, really excited about. And I'm going to be sharing more around it with you because I'm offering a special discounted price for those of you in the community and other special tools and goodies. So I'm really excited to share that with you. But in the Worth to Wealth experience, I'm basically taking everything that I've learned from helping all of these different transformationalists launch and grow their businesses, and I'm putting it into one place and giving you hands-on access, hands-on support, live coaching, RTT, like subconscious reprogramming, business mentorship, sales training, like everything. It's fucking awesome. But you'll learn more about that. But what I was doing for a while when it came to building my Worth to Wealth program was choosing to see that what I am building and creating is what people want. So I actively put into my conscious experience the process of choosing to see that what I am building is of need and of service to the people that I feel called to serve. So I started collecting data and I started collecting evidence that women need support when it comes to making decisions about how to get clients. I started looking for data and evidence that women need support breaking through their fear and overcoming self-sabotage. I started looking for data and support in the community to see that other people weren't offering the subconscious reprogramming capabilities that I could offer through RTT in combination with business mentorship and training. I started looking for the support of all of these things. And so when you start to collect evidence that what you're creating, that who you are being, that your desire is actually all around you, then you can start to manifest it with much more speed and efficiency than if you're out there collecting evidence to the contrary. Instead, I could have collected evidence to say, oh, well, there are thousands of coaches out there who are helping women launch businesses. Then what good do I have? Or I could have collected evidence that said, oh, nobody wants to work with me. See, I'm just poor little old me. I could have collected evidence that said, oh, people don't have enough money to pay me. Like, if I collected that evidence, that's what I would have gotten in exchange. I would have gotten those experiences. But that's not what I choose. I choose to collect the evidence of what I want. So one of the practices that I talk about in the Worth to Wealth Accelerator is evidence journaling. And we actually will be sharing the evidence of our desire. We'll be sharing the evidence that we are on track in our creation. And when you start to see the evidence and then you start to see a community of people collecting evidence, holy crap, it suddenly makes you realize that, wow, everything that you want is available to me. And there's this amplification effect of the momentum of evidence collection. And now everybody's looking for what they want. And then everybody starts getting what they want. And then we all start reveling in the creation together. And it's so powerful and amazing. Janine says, I'm so stoked for that launch. Yeah, girl. Oh, I'm so excited to share it with you. I would love to have you in the program. I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. I'm going to be doing a live probably in the next few days to tell you more about the journey to creating this experience and what it's meant to, who it's meant to serve, and talk about some more of the details. So just stay tuned for more on that. Nice morning surprise. Hi from Anchorage. Hi, Nepal. It's so good to see you, sister. Tell me if you're joining in or you're watching later, I want to know from you, what are you choosing to see? It's the holidays. So it's also a time for a lot of people where we can choose to see stress. Anybody feel like they're choosing to see stress? I know the other day so my husband's out of town. He loves Christmas, you guys. Like, Ryan loves Christmas, I think sometimes more than me. We actually start listening to Christmas music typically 2 weeks before Halloween. Yes, that is a lot of Christmasing. And we watch Christmas movies for almost a full month. By the time Christmas comes, I've seen the movie Elf like 7 or 8 times. That's a lot. That's 8 hours of the movie Elf, just that movie. So he loves Christmas, and he's in Amsterdam right now, and we have this new home in North Carolina. And I want to make it super special for him when he comes home. So I've been spending the past few days collecting Christmas stuff, creating Christmas stuff, doing all this decorating inside and outside of my house. I'll give you a little tour of it, but not until after he comes home, because I'm keeping it a surprise. But I was in the process of creating this garland, and I know this sounds like a random story, but I'll explain why I'm telling you in a second. I was creating this garland and trying to hang it up in this really special way where it kind of looked like was under my doorway, so it could be seen from 2 different rooms. And I gotta tell you, it was the most frustrating thing I've ever done. Has anybody here tried to hang or create Christmas garland? Oh my God. I think I understand why my mom for so many years hated Christmas decorating. Like, I get it. So I started collecting evidence that this was a difficult thing to do. I started collecting evidence that Christmas garland was the devil and that I hated the process. And every single time it would fall down, because it fell down like 15 times, I would tell myself, this is the worst. I hate doing this. This thing's never going to stay. Everything's going to break in the house. And then I started seeing evidence of things not working. Another thing would fall, or I would see that the battery was dying on something or whatever. And I started looking for all of this evidence. And then I stopped myself and I caught myself. And I said, wait a minute. I'm looking for this process to be difficult. I'm looking for these things to break. I'm even stockpiling dozens and dozens of batteries, assuming, and backup stuff, assuming that everything's going to fall apart. I am banking on the fact that things are going to fall apart. Why am I calling that in? I don't want that. So instead, I decided to start collecting evidence that everything is going to continue to work. All of these decorations and lights and crazy cords that I have all rung around different places, everything's going to function absolutely perfectly. The timers are going to go on when I want. The garlands are going to stay hung up. And when my family comes, because I'm hosting his family here for Christmas, we're having our very first joint family Christmas here, which is, you know, kind of a big deal. Everything's going to be perfect. So I started collecting evidence of that. And guess what? Nothing's falling down. I have plenty of battery life. Everything's flashing, blinking the way it's supposed to. I'm finding all of the Christmas gifts that I need for my family very easily. Everything is coming together absolutely seamlessly because I'm looking for what I want, not what I don't want. If I continue to tell myself the holidays are stressful, this is going to be a difficult process, I'm overwhelmed, then that's what I'd get. But I'm not telling myself that. I'm telling myself this is creative. I love giving. I can't wait to hold space for my family. They're excited to be here. This is easy for me. And so that's what's happening. And it has been. And I've been able to speak up and ask for help. I asked my mom to help me come get a Christmas tree. I was going to try to muscle my way through it when I was in this negative evidence collection place. I was like, I know I have to get a tree all by myself because my husband's not here. And then I realized, wait, I don't have to do that. I'm collecting evidence that this is hard. No, I want this to be easy. So I'm going to give my mom a call and ask her if she can come help me get a tree and put it up. And I did. And it was totally easy. So collect the evidence of what you desire, not what you don't desire. Nepal says, topic is dead on for me. I'm choosing joy this season. Thank you, Nepal. And thanks for recognizing that, like, it's those simple moments, right? It's the simple things, not always the complicated things, that we tend to overlook. And we always tend to want to apply the practices of self-awareness, mindfulness, and consciousness to the things that are the biggest problems or the biggest challenges in our life. But I find that when I apply those practices of choosing to see what I want and choosing to shift my perception consciously and subconsciously around things that are seemingly meaningless, I get more momentum and more practice for doing that in the places and spaces in my life where I really feel the biggest need. So practicing that in my garland experience, in my Christmas decorating experience this weekend, makes it easier for me to be in the practice of that around my desire for my Worth to Wealth launch, for example. Choosing to see that it's going to be a massive, beautiful experience and a huge success for me in my business. Choosing to see that people are excited about it. Choosing to see that it's going to deliver so much value. Choosing to see that the process of inviting people is going to be beautiful and healing in and of itself. Choosing to see everything that I want coming to life will be easier for me because I have applied the practice in a part of my life that doesn't seem to matter. So I invite you to this evidence journaling experience. And one of the things that I talked about in that YouTube video that I mentioned around the confirmation bias is actually looking for the contrary. So if you are in the experience of saying, I don't have enough money, for example, or I'm afraid to put myself out there in my business, which are the two biggest things that I hear, I ask for you to look for evidence that shows the opposite. And let's talk about what evidence really means. It's easy to get mixed up with opinions and facts. Okay? So you can have an opinion, but then there are facts. And so the evidence that you want to collect are actual facts as best as you can. So for example, when I was looking for the evidence around the garland, I saw the fact that everything was not shutting down. I saw the fact that everything was turning on exactly when it needed to. I saw the fact that the garland is staying hung. I saw the fact that my mother helped me come get my tree because I vocalized my desire. So those are facts. A fact would not be, so a lot of times when we're collecting evidence of the contrary, we say, nobody wants to work with me. That's not a fact. That's a belief, but it's not a fact. Or my husband doesn't love me. That may not be a fact. It may be an interpretation of your experience of his behavior, for example. So it's really important to be distinguishing when you're collecting this evidence. I actually have a process that I do with my private clients that I learned from another coach that I work with called Speed Dial the Universe. And it's actually a morning activity. It takes about 10 minutes. I'm going to be sharing this in the Worth to Wealth program as well, where you actually have a process every morning of sitting down, looking at your evidence, and then calling in your desires and practicing the experience of following your intuition in the most seemingly random ways. So it's a beautiful practice. I do it on and off. I did it for almost a year when I was starting my business. Every morning it takes about 5 to 7 minutes. And it was amazing what would happen because I was in the process of actually collecting evidence. So that's just something I want to point out to you when it comes to this fact-finding mission that you're going to be on. Be really mindful that you're not actually collecting evidence that is just opinion or that's simply belief. So just bring that into your awareness as you're doing this practice. Okay, guys. So that's my lunchtime story for you guys. What are you choosing to see in your life? And this is really important for you now as we're moving in to 2018. And for many of you, you have renewed energy and enthusiasm and momentum for reaching your 2018 goals, for letting go of the stuff that was keeping you stuck or that you chose not to do or to do in 2017. So it's important for you as you're moving into this next chapter, into this next year, to think about what you're choosing to see now that is in direct correlation with your desire. So go out and be evidence scouts and tell me what you find and what you learn through this process of collecting evidence on your desires and how available they are to you. And I'm really looking forward in the next couple of days to share with you the Worth to Wealth experience, talk to you about how it's going to help all of you who feel called to actually build a business in 2018 and get that hands-on support that you need to make it happen. So I'm looking forward to having that conversation with all of you. Thanks for tuning in randomly to be here with me today. I miss you all, and I wish that I could give you a hug because I love you so much. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye.